You've mentioned in a previous interview there are certain traits you look for in a good, enjoyable slice. I've got them listed here. So you look for a flexible base, slightly flexible, good balance between tomato and cheese. You slightly lean towards the tomato. Some people, a little bit of an edge, char on the bottom. And sometimes you like a counterpoint between the sweetness and the char, like a hot honey, for example. Did I miss anything?
No, I mean, for a New York slice, that's what I'm into.
That's what you're into. So now that we have the recipe for a good, enjoyable slice, I'm going to flip the script, turn the tables. I'm going to ask you to dissect another New York icon, the bagel. What do you look for in a good bagel?
Well, in my mind, a good bagel, really, that just means a properly made bagel. And in my mind, the good bagel is first of all, it's warm right out of the oven. You got to eat it within the first few hours. And it's crisp exterior that gives way to a dense and chewy interior. And that when you break open that bagel, there has to be a fragrance of a sweet, malty, nutty fragrance of the dough itself. If the bagel doesn't taste like a good bread, if it doesn't have its own flavor that's different from standard bread, if it's just fluffy with a hole in it, not a bagel. A bagel has to be dense because that reflects that it was made properly. It boils first so that the exterior gelatinizes before the interior is able to open. If you were to bake it without boiling, you just get a big puffy bread. Boiling it, then baking it, I mean, I think of it crack on the outside of it. Perfect. Do you toast your bagel or do you do them fresh?
I get it toasted.
You do.
What does that tell you about me?
It tells me that I wonder, well, did you go to Absolute Bagel?
Loved it.
Okay, yeah. And you got that toasted?
Yes.
Have you ever had a fresh one?
Is that a crime?
No.
Actually, here's the story. Do you want to, is this story time? I wasn't planning on telling this. This was the story that's close to my heart. So first day in New York, first morning. And I was like, I have to get either a pizza slice or a bagel. My first day in New York has to be one of the two. Absolute Bagels is next to where I stay. Line around the block. I'm standing in the line. And I'm like, I'm in New York now. I should, this is the city that entertains conversations. I'm not going to Google what the best bagel is. Tap the lady in front of me. I'm like, it's just my first day here. Can you tell me which is the best bagel? And she starts talking to me. She's like, where you come from? I said, Dubai. We get into a conversation. And she tells me how she loves the everything bagel, butter and toasted with the garlic cream cheese. And I'm like, that's exactly what I'm getting. It turns out so this is what happens. She asked me what I did. We had this whole conversation. I asked her, what do you do? She's like, I'm a personal assistant to an actor. I was like, is this New York? What's happening? This is first day in New York. The person in front of me is a personal assistant to an actor. Ends up she's ended up meeting George Clooney, Brad Pitt, and she started saying all stories about this. Like, what is happening over here? But she got me. And then when we got to the counter, she said, the bagel's on me because welcome to New York and it just feels right. And she bought me my bagel and it was an everything bagel, butter and toasted, cream cheese. I had a moment and I had this one bagel in me that I'm now going to pass it on to this one person who comes to me. Is like, first day in New York, I want to try a bagel. And that day I'll buy them a bagel. And the circle of bagels is going to continue going on. But that's how I got into toasted bagels. Long story short.
I love that. And it's so, people listening to this or watching it don't think that kind of thing is real, but that is exactly how the city works. And so that's such a quintessential experience. And of course that person said oh, I got your bagel. Don't worry about it. The actor paid for it.
But I digress. So yeah, I get it toasted.
So, which doesn't make you a bad person. But it's just a very different thing. And I used to think that no, fresh is the only thing. By toasting it, you're destroying the beauty of a fresh bagel. But toasting it is physically different. You're changing. You're getting way more crunch. If what you're looking for is that crisp crunch, then that's what you get. I like a soft inside, a chewy inside. So I personally prefer fresh. When I go to Absolute Bagel, I always just ask for what was the last one that came out of the oven. So whatever's the warmest, just came out of the oven, that's what I'll get. But also I like to kind of play it as it rolls. So in a pizzeria, if I look in the window and see one pizza just came out, it's full, no slices cut yet, kind of steamy, then I'll get that. That's, the city has told me what to get.
Right. It's a sign from the universe.
It is.
That's what's in your day to day. That's the slice. You don't go with the preconceived notion about it. Love it. One of the questions you hate the most is, what is your favorite pizza? So my next question, what's your favorite bagel? That's not going to be the question, but you have described that in order to really understand New York pizza, you need to create a past, present, future stratification. And in the pizza world, in the past, you put Totonno's and John's. In the present, you've put slice shops like Joe's and Luigi's. And in the new, you've put in the present future, you've put Roberta's, Mama's to Nucali. Can you create the same past, present, future stratification for bagels?
Probably not, because I don't eat a lot of bagels, because I eat a lot of pizza, and bagels are very dense bready. And I know if I eat a bagel, that's a lot of bread intake, and I bake bread at home, so I have to be careful. But I will say this, Absolute Bagel is, and I don't even know how old it is, but that for me feels like a past. And the present and future to me I'm gonna combine them. I love Baz Bagel. That's a very present place, but they make a very classic bagel. And then future of bagels, I keep seeing places that are doing these funky things with bagels.
Rainbow, blueberry.
Yeah, all that, which is, I don't see that as the future, but it's more like the future of bagels. I'm not going to name a place, but I'm going to say beyond New York is my answer, because I had a very good bagel in Berkeley, California last week. And people always, they say this over and over again. Oh, the pizza in New York and the bagels in New York are just better because of the water. And it is 100% false. And the only evidence I need is that I had a bagel in Berkeley, California that I very easily could have eaten in New York. And they're not bringing in the water. It's not the water.
This is the same argument they make with the pizza as well. And you've mentioned that even the bad pizzerias are using the same water. So it's clearly not just the water. I love that you included Absolute Bagels in it. It's got a soft spot in my heart, not just because of the story I mentioned, but ever since I moved down from Upper West Side, I've changed teams. I've now gone to Liberty Bagels. Don't tell Absolute Bagels.
I've never been.
You have to go.
Okay. Have you ever been in Utopia Bagels?
I have not, but it's not in Manhattan.
No,
right?
it's in Queens.
Yeah, that's right.
But I really want to go.
Yeah, I've seen a TikTok video about it, and ever since then, it's been on my list. Utopia Bagels.
I gotta go.
Yeah, they're getting me. That's how they get me. This TikTok is.
Hey, look, as long as it delivers the goods, I'm there.